What is going on, guys? We are back with another episode of our Pokemon TCG Pocket, and in today's episode, guys, we're going to be looking at Garchomp EX, the very new card that is very exciting. We were kind of expecting it after we saw Garchomp in Space Time Smackdown, but with Triumphant Light, we did get its EX form. It is very, very strong. However, it is a little bit of a finesse Pokemon that needs to be played a little bit differently than I think some people maybe are playing it. People kind of compare this to Machamp, and I just don't think that's accurate. The biggest difference is yes, it's 3 energy on curve for 100 damage, which is a little bit weaker than Machamp, and it has 10 less HP, right? That isn't really the full case though, right? Because Garchomp also has the ability to attack 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Garchomp is a very good counter to Arceus, and Arceus is being played in like nearly 60-70% of the decks that you're seeing, on top of the fact that it's super effective against half the dark types around, right? So, and Magnezone, right? So like it does a lot of really good things. You just have to play it properly, right? So one of the first things that I looked at is there's really 3 different ways to play Garchomp, right? Number 1, playing it in this type of fighting toolbox, right? We talked about this with Lucario, we talked about this with you know, different things when they came out, but the combination of Hitmonlee and Marshadow is very good utility Pokemon that have the ability to snipe the bench and then also kind of scare your opponent away from KOing your Hitmonlee. And so that's a really cool combination. You know, we're used to pairing it with Farfetch'd, but now we have Sudowoodo. And Sudowoodo is an interesting Pokemon, right? It's a one cost to attack that does 20 damage, but also does 30 more if it's an EX Pokemon. This is basically a less energy commitment Tauros, right? From Mythical Island, which ends up being really, really valuable. And we're seeing so many EX Pokemon, right? We're seeing Dialgas everywhere. We're seeing Exegutors everywhere. I mean, not that you really want to be fighting Executor with this deck, but you know what I mean? Like there's a lot more EXs that people are willing to play it, right? People are kind of almost making the decision that if they're playing 1 EX, they're playing 2 EX. And so you punish the Charizard decks, you punish everything that wants to run 2 EXs. So 50 damage for 1 energy is really, really efficient. And so in some games, Sudowoodo is really good, and in others, it's a Pokemon communication target. So I really like that combination. You see a bit of a unique situation with the Gible and the Gabite. Because this deck is really reliant on Garchomp being kind of like your real ace sweeper, Gible and Gabite that have the as the dragon typing have no weaknesses, and so you can sort of kind of pair the cape with them to give them a little bit more HP while you're trying to find that Garchomp. And then once you get that Garchomp going, you know, you can do what you want to do. But Marshadow, Hitmonlee, and Sudowoodo are kind of really good early game combinations, and then you kind of late game fall back on Garchomp with your Cyruses and stuff like that. So that's sort of kind of this first deck. Trying to take advantage of the fact that you have other offensive options besides Garchomp. Now, this one goes all into Garchomp. This one, you're attacking for your no weakness Gible. You're attacking for Gabite for 30. Now you're using just the fighting type Gabite, because now you're looking to be able to do damage. And you're always guaranteed to have Gible in this start because Aerodactyl uses the Old Amber, and you're not guaranteed an Old Amber in your first hand. However, the big benefit to using Aerodactyl in this build is, number 1, Garchomp is actually pretty good on curve, right? If you are going first, you can still use the linear shot and do 50 the first turn, and then the next turn, by the time you have Garchomp, you should be able to go for 100. So in 2 turns, you're doing 150. But when you're going second, right away on curve, you can do 100, right? So it's very, very unique in that sense. And Aerodactyl kind of just wants to be on the bench, stop Pokemon from evolving, so that Garchomp can just knock everything out with 100 damage. So this is kind of a combination that kind of stops your opponent from leveling up in the active slot. You know, most good players tend to evolve from the bench, but You know, this is a deck in particular that wants to evolve from the start. So there are other decks like this, and so you're kind of punishing those. Aerodactyl becomes a fairly efficient secondary attacker as well. If you need to switch Garchomp around, everything's a 1 retreat cost, so you're not really losing too much getting rid of 1 energy, right? You're rocking out with the potion just because you have the extra space. You only need 1 Pokeball because you are guaranteed 1 Gibble, so you're only really looking for the second one. 2 Pokemon communication because, you know, you can ditch an Aerodactyl if you need to get a Gibble or a Garchomp, or kind of vice versa. 1 Cape kind of helps out with 1 Cape helps out with the Gibbles, and really keeping your Garchomp really high. You'll be at 190 HP, which makes you as bulky as Venusaur. And then 1 Cyrus, 2 Cyrus, 1 Sabrina. We're actually rocking an extra card to switch things around. Early game, this helps if we're struggling to get our evolutions, and we can Sabrina push something away. And then we have 2 Cyruses for late game. The third way to build this, and this is, I think, the best way to make Garchomp feel like it's Machamp in a way, is to be rocking out with the 1 Marshadow, double Lucario. 1 Lucario online puts you at 120 damage. You still enable Marshadow is not the greatest lead, but it can be one. We're now actually rocking out with the fighting type Gibble because Lucario can enable Gibble to actually do more damage. So you're trying to take advantage of Lucario's ability to ramp things. So everything in this lineup can attack. You have the Marshadow to kind of scare away KOs. You have Lucarios that can ramp, and if you can get 2 online, you can do a ton of damage, even with them, right? Because there's 2 energy for 80, 60 for 2 energy with 1 of them, 80 for 2 for 2 of them. Garchomp can get up to 140 damage. You still got the bench sniping. So this is sort of kind of the third way. This kind of is this neutralizes its kind of weaker attack. This one kind of focuses on keeping your opponents with low HP stats so that you can just attack with the 100 no problem. And then this one's sort of kind of a early game attacker. Garchomp can help late game clean everything up with everything at low HP. So those are the 3 ways that I thought of to play Garchomp. Let's hop into a game kind of with each one and see how they do. So we'll be right back for game number 1. All right, game number 1 with Fighting Toolbox, and this guy's also rocking out with a Garchomp as his icon. So let's see what we got here, or emblem, sorry. All right, so let's see what we got here. Going first against a water deck, and we're leading Hitmonlee against an Eevee. So this could be a number of things. Okay, I'm going to Professor's Research first. Cape, Garchomp. You know, a Gibble would be sick here. Marshadow. Okay. Just end a turn like that. Okay, so this Eevee has potential to just actually knock us out right here with a crazy head roll, but they're gonna get nothing, which is perfect. So what we need to do here is actually get our Pokemon. So I'm gonna just enable this Marshadow and end our turn. So what we're gonna need to do, I have an X speed, so I can target this Eevee right now and win the game next. Perfect. Okay. So a bit of a weird one, but we're gonna win this game. In the weirdest way ever. So let's just do this. X speed out. And that is GG's to my opponent. Yeah, there's a concede right there. So yeah, so that's a weird one. Didn't really get to show off Garchomp at all, but yeah, I mean, that just kind of shows that you can win a game with Garchomp. The toolbox really lets you win games early if you can get pressure up, right? So realistically, what we're trying to do is that pressure early, and then let's show another game where we can get in with Aerodactyl or with Lucario, and we'll kind of show what Garchomp can really do. Alright, so we are here with the Aerodactyl build. Let's see what we can do with this one. Going up against going second, against a fighting deck of their own. And we actually have Garchomp on curve here. Woof. Alright, so going second is good. Going second's great here. So on curve, we'll get a Garchomp that can do... We'll basically be doing 150 damage in the first 3 turns. That's about as perfect as a start as you can get. Also have a Pokeball in the back. They're also playing Fossil. They're playing Kabutops. Okay. So they're playing Kabutops. I'll guarantee this Gibble out of there so that we only get good cards next turn. And we'll just gnaw for 20. Okay. So we gnaw for 20. We evolve next turn. They actually get a Lucario out of this. They're going to do 40 this turn. We are going to get outpaced here. That does 50. We're going to get outpaced here. They got a Lucario on curve as well, which is crazy good. Okay. So what do I need here? Get Old Amber. Okay. It's still a pretty high chance of me getting... Oh, this just knocks out, though. That actually mattered so much. Okay, I can't Sabrina because I had to leaf to get... I had to put Professor's Research to get that. So we're actually going to lose this Lucario here. The 1 energy on this does mean that it's not over. We can top deck an Aerodactyl, and I have 2 communications to potentially do something. Okay. So we're gonna get beat by Lucario, which is the next deck we were looking at anyways. Okay, so let's do this. We'll try twice for Aerodactyl. Okay, we get the Aerodactyl, which does at least keep us in the game. This does keep us in the game. I can Gibble here. We'll go for Land Crush to pick up our KO here. They won't be able to evolve whatever they put out. So they're gonna have to put the Lucario in front. I'm gonna Sabrina and pick up a second KO no matter what it is. Although I do think in this particular game, they might... We're in a really interesting spot here. Oh my... Okay. So we have a shot here. We have a shot. We are currently losing to the next deck we're going to be playing, though, which is a little funny. I don't know. Oh my god, let me get the Old Amber out of that. Come on, bro. Okay, so I could Sabrina here and force a second KO. They're going to give me the Fossil, though. They're not going to give me what I want. So I think I have to just... I'm going to Sabrina pick up a KO. I think that's what I gotta do here. Yep. And I need to top deck a Gabite. That's what also needs to happen here. Okay. We're gonna cape this Lucario. They're gonna cape both, actually. Okay. So I have a bit of a problem here. Yeah, I need to land crush this. The biggest problem is that I want to be targeting the Gabite, because now Garchomp comes in, and I don't really have a way around this, because now the Lucario, I think to give myself the best shot, I actually need to pull the Lucario back, but I also can't let the Lucario stick around. Okay, so I get Cyrus here. What is the correct play? If they have Cyrus, it doesn't matter regardless. But I think the correct play is pull theirs back. Yep. All right, perfect. So, GG's there. That was a close one. That was a very, very close one. I actually thought we lost that one right off rip, but yeah, that's a really good game. That was a really close one. The Aerodactyl came through, kind of forced them to kind of keep things back. It didn't really work out great in this game, but it was a good secondary attacker that the other decks don't have consistently, right? So, yeah. So anyways, next one, we're going to get in with a Lucario deck, and we'll see what we can do with that. All right, so we're not playing as many fancy cards as my last opponent was, but we got Lucario in this one. Let's see what we can do here. We're now rocking with the fighting type Gible, so we have offensive options. We're playing against a dark deck as well. And we have a really weird start. This is a kind of brick hand a little bit. And we're actually going against a Darkrai lead. Okay. So we're going to get first energy, which is good. But if we don't get something quickly, we're in a lot of trouble. And my opponent at least had another Pokemon in their hand. I have a super weird starting hand. And it looks like it's Crobat. What is the best lead for me here? Marshadow. We're gonna just do this. I don't know if that's correct, but I think if I can do a little bit of damage. The one thing that I don't like about this deck build in particular, I mean, there's nothing terribly wrong with it, but like Darkrai wants energy, Arceus wants energy. It does feel a little bit like you're competing about which one you want. Like, you don't want Arceus in this one. It's not efficient to be trying to look for something else here right now. So we're gonna just do this. And jab again. If I don't get it next turn, though, I'm in a lot of trouble. But I can at least put it in a position where I can revenge Riolu with Marshadow next turn. Okay. I have to communication this. Have to. Okay. And I get Lucario. So, Lucario... Gabite was probably preferred. Because you do KO me with this regardless. I actually think for this particular one, we're going to sacrifice the Gabite. Or the Gibble. And end our turn like that. Pulls out the side. Okay. So, I got nothing out of that turn. Absolutely nothing. That's worst case scenario. That is worst case scenario because I also missed out knocking out the Darkrai. So I should have not evolved and... Okay. But losing 2 Pokemon to hit a Darkrai is painful. So they get Golbat here. They should knock out the Marshadow. But then they're in a bit of an awkward spot. They are in a bit of an awkward spot. It's not perfect, but they're going to be able to attack. Like, obviously, they're going to get a free switch into Crobat, right? So... my thing here is I'm okay with that. And what is my most efficient way to winning here? Okay. So I think it doesn't matter. I actually knock this out. So I do win here. Okay, so close game, but I did win here. Garchomp came through, and he is the deciding factor here. We're going to be able to do 120 damage. And let's Dragon Claw. So Dragon Claw, 120 damage, knocks this out. GG's to my opponent. It's actually funny. We actually saw that this Garchomp did better in the game that was focused around Garchomp, and we ended up playing a Lucario that was actually did better than what we did with Lucario. Wild day, but that kind of showcases Garchomp, you know, either from our opponents or from me here. So thanks everyone for watching. Click like if you like the video, subscribe if you really like it. Let me know if there's anything you would change about any of these decks. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.